name is Mr. Casey, and today we're going to be talking about natural forces. Okay, so here's what we'll be talking about today. We'll talk about natural forces, what that means. We also refer to it as forces of nature. Okay, so we'll figure out what that means and give some examples. We'll also be talking about our virus pandemic today, and some vocabulary that we've learned about that force of nature. And then we'll be talking about how we can use different parts of words to understand words that maybe we don't know. In English, words come in different parts, and we can use those parts to understand. Okay, and then at the end, we'll talk about reading about some volcanoes, okay, and learning some more vocabulary from that. So let's get started. So, what are natural forces? Okay, so in your book, on page 122 and 123, we see this big picture. Okay, what are we looking at? Okay, this is an example of some natural forces, or forces of nature. Okay, so what do you see? I see, first, a volcano. Okay, volcano. Okay, so we see the volcano. What is the volcano doing? Okay. The volcano is erupting. Okay, the verb is to erupt. Erupt. Okay, or we can say this is a volcano eruption. Eruption. Okay, what else do you see? Okay, I see lightning. Okay, lightning. Right, so we see lightning happening because of this. Okay, there's a big volcano, there is an eruption, it causes lightning, and it causes a storm. Okay, so all of these are connected, okay, to the volcano, and these are what we call natural forces, or forces of nature. Okay, so do we have any natural forces in Vietnam? What kind of natural forces do we see here? Let me give you one example. It's very common for us in Vietnam to see a typhoon. Okay, repeat, typhoon. Again, typhoon. Good. Okay, a typhoon is a big storm that starts at the sea. You can see in the picture. Okay, and the storm will start out at the sea over warm water and will move into the land and bring lots and lots of rain, lots of wind, and can cause lots of damage to people's houses, okay, to their farms, to their property. Okay, so we do see lots of typhoons. That's a natural force that happens in Vietnam. What about another one? This one we call monsoon. You repeat after me. Monsoon. One more time, monsoon. Good. Okay, so monsoon, we have monsoon season every year. Normally September and October, we have monsoon season where we have rain and rain and rain and rain every single day. Okay, it's good for our food and good for our crops, but sometimes it causes floods. Okay, so both typhoons and monsoons, heavy rain, will give us floods. So these are natural forces that we have to deal with every single year because we live here in Vietnam. In other parts of the world, they see different natural forces. Okay, and we'll talk later about maybe some examples that you can find of natural forces. Okay, so we've learned some new vocabulary by reading about the COVID-19 virus. Okay, first of all, virus. What is a virus? I think you've learned this in class before. Okay, right? A virus will get inside of our body. Okay, and it will change the cells inside of our body. Okay, and become something different. So this virus, what it does is it damages people's lungs so they can't breathe, which is very dangerous. There are many other things that you will have read about when you read the news about the virus, okay? And so we're learning some new vocabulary about this force of nature, okay? The first one is infection, okay? Repeat after me, infection. One more time, infection. So an infection is when something bad gets inside of you, okay? Or you may know an infection of a virus in your computer. If a virus gets into your computer, then your computer is infected with the virus, okay? So an infection is the process of infecting or the state of being infected. Okay. The next one is outbreak. After me, outbreak. Good. One more time. Outbreak. Okay. So an outbreak is the sudden or violent start of something unwelcome, something we don't want. Okay? Like war or disease. We call that an outbreak. Okay. So in January, we had an outbreak of this new virus, okay, that started in China. Okay, so next we move to the level of epidemic. Okay, repeat after me. Epidemic. Good. One more time. Epidemic. Good. Okay, so an epidemic is the wide outbreak of a disease in a community at a time. Okay, so in January, we had an epidemic of COVID-19 virus in China. Okay, but then the virus started to spread all over the world. Okay, and so the next step we got to is we call pandemic. Okay, your turn. Pandemic. One more time. Pandemic. Good. So a pandemic is the outbreak of a disease over the entire world. Okay? This has happened many times before in history. You will learn about this in history class. Okay? So now let's talk about learning new vocabulary. Okay? We just learned some new vocabulary, like epidemic, by breaking it up into small pieces. Okay? We can do the same thing in English by using word parts. Okay? In English, words have meaningful parts, okay, including base words and suffixes. Okay? A base word makes sense alone with no other parts attached to it. What does that mean? Okay? And then a suffix is a word part that comes at the end of the word. It changes the meaning of a word or how the word is used. And sometimes we can put two smaller words together to make a compound word. Okay? Compound word. So let's look at the first example. Okay? The first example, okay, is a base word and a suffix. Okay? The word slow, we know what that means. Okay? Right? And then if we add ly, li, as a suffix, okay, that means in a way of doing something. Okay? In the example here, it says means in a certain way. So slow plus li means in a way that is slow. Okay? He talks very slowly. Okay? He talks in a way that is slow. Okay? That's the suffix ly changes it to in a way of doing something. Okay? The next example, okay, is using a compound word. We take two base words that we know and we put them together, okay, and we have a compound word. Okay? The example here is every plus thing equals everything. Okay? Right? So a thing could be my phone, it could be my water bottle, right? We know what a thing is, and every means all. So every plus thing means all things. Got it? Okay, so this is how we can use word parts to understand different vocabulary. Okay, so at the bottom it says, how does this strategy work? When you read, you may come to a word that you don't know. Look for word part clues to help you define the word. Okay, define means to understand. Okay, so if we can define a part of the word, maybe we can understand the whole word. Okay, so 5 pieces to this strategy for using word parts. 1, look at words nearby for clues to the word's meaning. maybe you don't understand this word, but maybe you understand the words next to it. That will help you understand the meaning of the word that you're looking for. Okay? Break down the word into meaningful parts. Okay? So in this case, every plus thing, we have two words that we understand. We put it together, make a compound word. We understand what the word means. Okay? Think about the meaning of each part of the word. What is every? What is thing? Okay? And put the meanings together to define the whole word. Everything. Okay? So that means all things that exist. And then number 5, see if that meaning makes sense. Okay? Got it? Next. Okay? So let's look at this paragraph, okay, and see if we can use the strategy we just learned, okay, to define the underlined words in this paragraph. Okay, so let me read the paragraph to you, then we'll talk about the words that are underlined. Okay? It rained all night from sunset until sunrise. What a downpour it was. The streets quickly became flooded. When the rainstorm finally ended, we went outside. What a mess. There was water and mud everywhere. Okay, so let's look at underlined words and see if we can define them based on using the word parts. Okay, so the first one, sunset. Okay, so do we know what sun is? Okay, you can see on the side here, I see meaningful parts in sunset. The sun is an object in the sky. We know what the sun is. Set means to go down. Okay, so sunset, okay, is the time when sun goes down and night begins. Okay, good. So the next one, sunrise. Okay, again, we know sun, rise is to come up. So sunrise is the time when the sun first comes into the sky in the morning. Understand? Okay. Next one, downpour. This is a compound word, okay? 2 pieces, right? Down, we know. Pour, okay? We can pour water. Okay, so if the rain is a downpour, okay, then it's a heavy, heavy fall of rain, okay? And it often starts very suddenly. Sometimes here in Vietnam, we have monsoon, which we already learned today. Okay, monsoon is a very heavy downpour of rain. It happens very suddenly and very quickly. The streets become flooded with water. Okay, all right. Quickly is in a way that is very fast. Okay, the next one, rainstorm, another compound word. Okay, a very heavy fall of rain. Okay, we know the word storm. We already studied the word storm. We know what rain is. We put those together. We have rainstorm, compound word. Okay, next one, finally. Okay, final is last, and li is in a way that is. So, okay, finally is after a long time. Next, outside, okay, is the opposite of inside. Okay, we know inside, we know outside. And the last one, we talked about everything before. Okay, now we have every, which is all, and where is a place. So, every plus where equals all places. Understand? Next, we have these passages here, okay? One is about the flood of 1993, and the other one is about storm safety, okay? So we will read these together, okay? I'm going to read aloud. You read with me, okay? And then we'll look at the underlined words and try and define them at the end, okay? So let's first read about the flood of 1993. When there is too much rainfall, rivers can overflow. Towns can get flooded. People who live near rivers may grow fearful when it rains for a long time. A terrible flood happened in 1993. the Mississippi and Missouri rivers both spilled over. About 50 people died. Thousands more had to leave their homes. Wildlife suffered too. After days of rain, dirty water quickly covered roads and homes. Many hardwood trees fell down. Birds, turtles, and fish suffered too. It was a difficult time for everyone in the Midwest. Okay, now let's read the other one, and then we will go and try to define the underlined words using the strategy we learned about using word parts. Okay, so let's read. Okay, read with me about storm safety. If you prepare properly, you can survive a bad storm. Make a plan with your family. Have a radio, a flashlight, water, and a snack ready in a backpack. Go to your family's safe place. Stay there until an announcement tells you that you can leave your safety leave. When you leave your safe place, be careful of active power lines and trees that are down. Okay, so now let's look at all of these words. Okay, these are the words that are underlined, okay, in the two things we just read. And let's try and match the word with the definition. Okay, so the first one is rainfall. You repeat after me, rainfall. Okay, so which one of these is rainfall? We already talked about this one. Okay, right, so rainfall is E, the total amount of rain that falls in a particular area in a particular moment. Okay, next one, overflow. Okay, overflow. Okay, so what does it mean if a river, okay, in our story, the river overflowed? Two words. Okay, we know over, we know flow. Okay, right? So full that the contents go over the sides. If we get too much rain, okay, too quickly, then the river may overflow and the water will go into the land and then we have a flood. Okay, next one, fearful, fearful. Okay, full of fear, right? Okay. Okay, we also define that as nervous and afraid. Good. Okay, next one, wildlife. Okay. Compound word. We know wild. We know life. So if we put those together, what does it mean? Okay. Animals, birds, insects that are wild and live in a natural environment. Okay, that's wildlife. A tiger is wildlife. You cannot put it in your house or it will eat you. Okay, next one. Hardwood. Hardwood. Two words that we know, a compound noun. Okay, hard plus wood. Okay, so what is the definition of hardwood? Okay, it's a kind of tree that is hard and heavy. Okay, bamboo is not a hardwood. Bamboo is very soft. Okay, we can break bamboo, we can cut bamboo. Okay, but hardwood is different. An oak tree, a maple tree, a pine tree is hardwood. Okay, next one. Everyone. Okay, everyone. Two words that we know. Everyone. Okay, so this means, okay, all people is everyone. Number 7. Okay, property. You repeat, property. Good. Okay, so what is property? How about D? A thing or things that are owned by somebody. Okay, this laptop, this phone are my property. Okay, they belong to me. Next one, flashlight. Your turn. Flashlight. Good. Okay, two words we know. Okay, flashlight. So what is the definition? Which one would you put this? This This one, a small electric lamp that you can hold in your hand and carry with you. Okay, flashlight. Good. Next one, backpack. Okay, 2 words we know. My back, okay, right, is a part of my body. A pack is something we carry on your back. Good. Next one, announcement. Your turn. Announcement. Good. Okay, so what is an announcement? Okay, an announcement is a spoken or written statement informing people about something. The government made an announcement about the COVID-19 virus. The school made an announcement about lunchtime. Okay. Next one, number 11, safety. Okay, safety. What does that one mean? Okay, this one is G, the state of being safe and protected from danger or harm. Okay, good. 2 more. Next one is careful. Careful. Okay, so what does that mean? This one is A. Okay, paying attention or giving attention to what you are doing so you avoid hurting yourself, damaging something, or doing something wrong. Is to be careful. Okay, and the last one, active. Okay, active means working or in use, something we can use. Okay, very good. So, next, your homework for next week. We talked about natural forces or forces of nature. Okay? Find as many as you can and write them in your notebook and then use them in an English sentence. For example, we talked about the word typhoon. Typhoon. Here's a sentence. The typhoon caused high winds and flooding in Kanhua province. Okay? So find some other examples of natural forces or forces of nature and write them down. And we will discuss more of those next time. Okay? Also, there are many more words about the COVID-19 virus, okay, that you have seen in the news, okay, that you've been reading about, that you've been talking about with your friends and family. Okay? We talked about outbreak. We talked about epidemic. We talked about pandemic. Okay? See if you can find some more words, okay, that we're talking about right now in the news, okay? And then write those down in your notebook. And we will list some more here next week. Third, on page 134 to 142 in your book, there is a science article called volcano, okay? And this has some more vocabulary words about volcanoes. Okay, so please read this article and write new words into your notebook. And that's all for now. Thank you so much. We will see you again.